Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay Moore.
This is Greg Cruz.
This is Dan.
This
Stone.
is Dexter from The
This
Offspring.
is Nathan
This
East.
is Sebastian Younger.
This is David Lapp.
This is Stuart Copeland.
This is Mick
I'm
Gillette.
Krista
This is
Vernoff.
Dr. Bob Greenberg.
I'm Laird Hamilton.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey,
This is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, I'm Mark Farley.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
Hey, how you doing? This is Kevin Farley, and you can go to kevinfarleyofficial.com. That's www.kevinfarleyofficial.com. And also my podcast at Kevin Farley on the Road. And I'm on the Break It Down show.
And now, the Break It Down show with John Leon Guerrero, Mark Valley, and Pete A. Turner.
Holy shit. We got Kevin Farley in the house.
Yeah.
And as you can hear, we also are doing this at our official WeHo West Hollywood studio, Hilliard's office. Hilliard guest is here sitting shotgun. And we might even have an appearance from Mark Valley soon. So
he might stop in?
Yeah, he might stop in. Okay. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, this is super cool. So he gave these Kevin Farley. I'm Kevin Farley on Twitter. Like he said, Kevin Farley.
I'm Kevin Farley, yeah. And Kevin Farley official.
And Hilliard is at Hilliard Guest, right?
At Hilliard Guest, or Screenwriters RR from my podcast.
Yeah,
Screenwriters Rant Room.
Got to check out the Screenwriters Rant Room. And yours is Kevin on the Road, is that right?
Kevin Farley on the Road.
Kevin
That's
Farley
my podcast, yeah.
And then, of course, this is the Break It Down show. I'm at Pete A. Turner on Twitter. Definitely hit us up because I'd love to talk to all of you guys. So I want to get started with what you're working on. I saw you last time you were at JJ's house, Jay Moore's, doing his podcast. So
that was fun.
Then I saw you on Drunk History. And that cracked me up. I'm like, hey, there's Kevin right there.
So, yeah, I love Drunk History.
Yeah, that show's
I love
hilarious.
that show. It's one of my favorite shows. I love history. I see you got a picture of John F. Kennedy there. I love history. I'm kind of a Civil War buff. And so I started watching that. I know Derek Waters, the guy that does that, and he puts me on there, and I'm really happy for it just because it's such one of my favorite shows. I love it.
I have a funny story about Drunk History. So I had heard about it, but I didn't know what it was. Like kind of like Hilliard, just like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, and I tried to explain. It's a little hard to explain, you know. My new girlfriend at the time, she's like, let's watch Drunk History. And it happened at the time that we were drunk. I was too drunk to watch Drunk History. I'm like, I don't understand what's going on.
That's weird. When the other person's talking your same language. You understand every drunk person's conversation.
Yeah. It's
not so funny. It loses its funny.
It's a TV show or it's a podcast?
It's a TV show on Comedy Central. And basically what happens is the guy gets drunk. Right. They get a guy drunk and they talk about a specific historical event, such as the Kennedy assassination or something like that. And the guy's telling it really drunk. Yeah. And then they reenact it. And they reenact it from how the guy's telling it, which is obviously slurring his words and that kind of thing. And then you have to like mimic the guy's talk, which is funny. You know, you're like, if he says something like George Washington, a quote that George Washington said, then they cut to you playing George Washington and saying the same quote that the drunk guy said. Right. It's very clever.
Yeah, I was like, it's sort of improv-y where like you were acting like the person who's like reciting the story.
Yeah.
And they're hammered, and then they're also really modern times colloquials. The act like Kevin might do something that's modern, but he's wearing a wig, you know, and tights and everything.
Yeah, it's very funny. I love the show, and I'm grateful. I've been on there like 2 or 3 times. It's
Who
really
have you
fun.
played?
Let's see. I played the guy who invented the dictionary, Walter Murray, or something like that. This is the last one I did. And then I think I was Al Capone, and I juggled dildos on that one, which is weird.
Oh man!
So that was funny.
Yeah.
It's just a great show. I think it just got re-upped. It just got up for another year. So they're doing great over there, and I love Derek. He's such a sweetheart, nice guy, really nice guy.
Yeah, for sure. So what else are you working on?
Well, just doing stand up. You know, I'm out on the road a lot, back and forth a lot. You know, I've decided to move to New York. Just because it's such a long flight. A lot of my stand-up comes in the Midwest or the East Coast. So I've decided it's a long flight back here to Los Angeles. So I've had a place in New York for a long time. I think I'm just going to switch spots over there and just operate out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that flight, it's just killing me. I'm always on a plane somewhere. You know, I'm always like this week I got to go to Indiana, and then the next week I got to go. You know, I don't know where, Portland or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, that's the life of the stand-up, though. So I've been doing a lot of that. And I also do this Voices on F is for Family, which is on Netflix. Yeah. And I do 3 or 4 voices on there. And Bill Burr is a good friend of mine, and he put me on the show. And I've done a few voices on there. And that keeps me here in L.A. I record that here in L.A.
I say you probably can do that in your bathroom with the
Right.
right equipment now, right?
Right. That's the best thing about
Yeah.
voiceovers. Is like this, you can come in your pajamas or something like
Exactly.
That's the best uniform of all.
The pajama.
Pajama.
I know.
Yep, I'm up, and I'm at work.
that. Yeah. We've become so casual.
Yeah.
Maybe we just do our pajamas.
Yeah.
I'm working with Tommy Davidson
Mhm.
on a couple projects right now.
Very funny
And
stand-up.
it's fun. It's like every time we're about to go pitch something somewhere, he's like, "Can we move it a week? I'll be on tour." I was like, "You didn't know you were on tour last week."
You know, these gigs come up on last
Right,
second, and they go,
right.
"Hey, do you want to go to Poughkeepsie and do like,
Right.
you know, you get 1,000 or whatever." Davidson probably gets a lot, and you know, you just can't say no. You know, you just like, okay, yeah, I'll do that gig. You know,
Right.
but my schedule is always at the mercy of those things. You know, unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, we actually worked hard trying to get you and I synced up because I stay busy, you stay
Mm-hmm.
busy, and it was like, man, we're gonna get this thing done, but you know,
I know my schedule just always like that. You know,
and
Yeah.
mine, because I deal with a lot of folks that have schedules where saying yes is part of the cachet of what you do.
yeah.
My schedule also is like that, where like I told Hilliard, I'm like, yeah, it works out. Kevin's coming, and he's like, let's do it. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. We might as well run with it while we can.
Yeah,
Right.
Because
yeah.
I'm here for like 3 days and then I'm gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
What's your podcast about?
Oh, that is just me on the road. When I'm on the road, I like to talk to some of the comics that are starting out. You know,
Mhm.
guys
Oh, I like
younger
that.
than me. You know, I'm older. I don't know. I'm an old man,
Yeah,
and I like to hear these guys' stories about why they got into it and
Right.
where they want to go, who their favorite comic is, and that kind of thing. Because you find a lot of guys that open up for you.
yeah,
You know, and they're younger and they've been at it in their local area, but they don't want to move to the coast because
Right.
it's a big daunting task.
Right.
So they have a little nice life in Dallas or, you know, Sioux Falls or someplace like that, wherever I go, you know. And I talk to them about it, about how they like doing stand-up, and they have kids or what do they do, what's their lifestyle like. And it's an interesting podcast. I like it. You know, I've learned a lot about guys trying to follow their dreams, you know, trying to follow their dreams and still have a family and still have a life, and then whether to make that big decision to go to New York or LA and that kind of thing.
I love it. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I
I
want
was gonna say I love those type of shows. I went to see Hamilton like the first week it came out here,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy who plays the king, Rory, has a show, a podcast he does called Living the Dream, where he interviews like all of the guys in the cast and girls in the cast and talks to them about exactly similar to what you're doing, but
Yeah.
he interviews everybody in the cast. Now he's expanded it to now he's everybody who's on Broadway who are his old friends or whatever.
Yeah.
So I love that so it's very similar, but I love where you're going with this. This is good.
Right. It's all people just trying to follow their dreams
Right.
and keep the dream alive. And I suppose Broadway actors are similar to that.
Mhm.
They got to get the gig where they can get that King
Right.
guy is funny because
Oh
I
my
just
God.
saw him. I don't know if it's the same King guy because the cast changes, doesn't it? Or because the guy in New York, I just saw it at New York, and boy, he was
Yeah,
funny.
that's a different one.
It's a different guy,
Yeah.
but that King role is very
But
funny.
he was the king after the first guy, the main guy.
Yeah.
He became the king, and then he went on the tour.
I think the King is the funniest role.
Oh, it's
I think it's hysterical.
right. You
It's
haven't
so
seen it yet,
funny.
have you?
No, I've
Oh,
not
you got to
seen
see it. It's funny.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I keep,
Hamilton is great. I loved it. I like
Mhm.
the second half more than the first. I don't know why, but I think it just got because I like history, you
That's
know,
right.
and then it got into the whole feud with, you know.
Now,
Aaron
can I ask you
Burr.
a quick question? Did you know the music before you saw the play?
I did not know.
And
And
you still got it?
I love the music. Yeah,
Okay.
I got. I mean, in terms of like,
because the story, a lot of it is told. I mean, it's
In
sung
music.
99% of the time. So.
I think to enjoy Hamilton, you sort of got to know the story. You got to
Right.
know the history to
Right.
really, because it moves fast
Right.
and they sing fast.
Right.
And so you've got to pay attention, obviously, to the songs. The songs move fast.
Right.
So it's not a play where you can kind of relax.
Mhm.
You got to really be on your feet and know what did they say? What did they do?
Right.
Because it moves quickly.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who played the musical like damn near every day and learned it before I ever saw the.
Oh, you did?
Like
Yeah.
2 years before I ever saw it. So it
Oh.
was like memorized in my head.
Oh, so you
You
knew
know.
it going in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was deep.
That probably helped you a lot,
Oh,
you know.
God, yeah.
And then you knew the story, obviously, you know. So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things that you got to know the story and you got to listen because it goes pretty fast and
Right.
the songs are really fast too. But it's
so it's not like opera where they show subtitles because it's sung in
Oh, no.
Italian, and then
No.
it's like the same line, the same line, the same line. So there's
No.
time. It's
Right.
faster.
No, the story is intricate, and the story is there's a lot in the story.
Yeah.
So they got to get it all out,
Mhm.
and you know when they sing it and they sing it like rap, they sing it really fast, you know. So yeah, it's one of those things. I think if you were going to go, brush up Wikipedia, whatever. Brush up on the Hamilton story.
Yeah.
And then
I
you'll
say
know it.
listen to the fucking soundtrack because it
Listen to
tells
the
you the
soundtrack.
whole story.
Right.
You
If
know
you
what I
listen
mean?
to the
Yeah,
soundtrack,
definitely.
that would be a good thing to do before you go to see Hamilton,
Right,
because the
definitely.
tickets aren't cheap.
No.
Boy, no kidding.
Yeah. No, I know the tickets aren't cheap, so it would be really frustrating for you if you didn't do that. Yeah.
Right, yeah. I've been doing the lottery, trying to win tickets to it, because why not get $10 tickets? Yeah, because I'm not in a position to buy in full
now
price.
I think they're $300-$400 or something.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's so much. But I do go to musicals quite a bit. I mean, I love all forms of that kind of entertainment, whether it's on stage and everything. I saw Omelette. Have you ever seen that one before?
No.
It's like Hamlet. No, sorry, it's like Shakespeare's stuff all together, and it's super, super clever, like you would expect a musical to be. And they're singing through all of these songs, and all these references to all these Shakespearean plays. Mm-hmm. But Shakespeare is so ubiquitous in all the culture, like even if you aren't familiar with all the different things, you're still going to be able to hang with it,
Yeah.
But if you know Shakespeare at all, it's a riot, and it's just brilliant stuff. Yeah. Have you seen that, Omelette? Oh, it's really, really good.
I've heard of it.
Where did you see that?
At the Seagram in Orange County. That's where I live.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
It's really good.
Omelette.
Omelette.
Clever
Yeah,
name.
so
It is, definitely.
yeah, no, and wait, if you get a chance
I
to
thought
see
it was about
for sure.
eggs or some shit. But
Well, that's the thing. That's a whole part of the story. Is like this guy, he sees this visionary guy like Nostradamus, right? And the guy's like, "Your future is omelet. I see omelet." And so he's trying to make this musical about omelets, and it doesn't make any damn sense, right? But it really was the soothsayer or the Nostradamus guy was a little bit left. Like it was actually Hamlet that he was trying to describe, and so it's like these two parallel stories, and then the whole. So,
it sounds like something you wrote, Kevin.
Yeah, I would probably write that. Yeah.
No, it's hilarious. It's like, hey, look at this! Look who's in the
Mark
house.
Valley in the house.
Mark Valley, come on in and sit down.
Hey, Mark, Kevin Farley. How are you? Good to see you.
Jump in and share a mic or do whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's warm up here. I've been doing this trying to get cooled off.
It is warm up here, yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you about your podcast. Actually, let me get Mark up to date. So Kevin's got a podcast. He goes on the road and talks to like the openers for him and everything, and they kind of just gets their stories. So it's in Sioux Falls or whatever it's going to be, and then they have conversations. We talked a little bit about Hamilton, but I was going to switch gears back to the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious. As these guys go, they all have their own individual road, and there's sort of a general direction that it takes where, you're the host maybe, and then maybe you're opening for the feature guy.
Yeah.
But what are some of the common themes? Like what do people, I mean, you must be guiding these guys a little bit too.
Well,
right?
I don't think I'm guiding them. I think what happens is, let's say you take a typical town like Dallas or something like that. They have 3 or 4 or 5 comedy clubs there, and I think if you're a kid in college trying to start out and want to do comedy, you go up and you do the open mics, and then if the club owner likes you, he'll give you a spot like to feature or to host.
Yeah.
Usually to host or something like that. So it'll give you a little time before when a headliner comes through town or something like that. And so a lot of those guys will just work the hosting, and they'll get a few bucks for that, and that kind of thing. And then you get better and you hone your craft, and then you try to, either get to be a headliner around your area, or you move out to the coast and try to really do like usually New York, to try to really start to do some, main comedy. And then, you get better and better and better. But the idea is to get as much stage time as you can and work your craft as much as you possibly can. And those guys, in the local areas are usually, working that whole thing, the hosting and the featuring, that kind of thing.
We've had a couple other comedians on the show that work sort of, they're headliners, but they're regional headliners. Mm-hmm. So they could come down to LA. They're like, but I got a good thing. Like I do a little 10-city Great Western States tour every 6 months.
Yeah.
And I go out, I got a radio gig, and I do, do some voiceover. So they kind of cobble together.
Right.
And they don't have to do the full like LA experience.
You're right. My friend Bob Marley, who's a really great stand-up, and he has a family and that kind of, he lives up in Maine, and he really is good on the East Coast, and so he just works the East Coast most of the time. But he's a headliner on the East Coast, and plus it helps his family in that area. So he doesn't have to go on a plane and travel around so much. So that's good. I mean, I think that's good for him. He just likes to hammer that East Coast as much as he can, and then he doesn't have to get on a plane and come to the West Coast, which is a long way. And he's got a lot of kids. He just doesn't want to do it anymore. So. And he's a very funny headliner guy, yeah. So that's typical of like a guy that's really, done it for a long time but doesn't want to travel so much. He'll hammer one area. You know, I mean, in each area of the country, they have guys like that are headlining guys that just, they have 4 kids or something like that. They don't want to.
Right.
They don't want to travel too much.
Yeah.
So
maybe you can even take your kid on the road because you're not. It's not so crazy. Like it's summertime. Come on,
sure.
Let's go. Whatever.
If your kid's old enough.
Yeah, for sure.
Carry your bags to the airport.
Yeah.
So Kevin, are you a stand-up as well?
Yeah, I do stand up. Yeah.
You do stand-up. I just had a question about the regional comics you were talking about. It seems like when comics come out to L.A. or to New York, you tell your own personal story, and your comedy comes out of your own character. Do you feel like a lot of it? I think some of the comedy gets sort of homogenized, where you have to have a national audience as soon as you come to LA or New York, or that's your target, as opposed to some regional comics that can kind of adjust and adapt to some of the regional nuances and humorous things. Do you know? Have you noticed any of that?
Yeah, there's always the town has its own humor, and there's a bunch of jokes that you can do that are specific to Reading, Pennsylvania, or something like that. Wherever town you're at. And I think those guys really do well. There's I'm from Madison, Wisconsin, which is a tiny town, and they have the local guy that knows the ins and outs of the politics and the local politics, and he can really hammer those jokes and do really well, and doesn't need to necessarily get on the plane and go play. It doesn't have an interest to get a national audience because he's very happy for where he is. He lives in Madison, and the cost of living is low, and he doesn't need a lot of money, and he's also got a good little career going there, But you have to be up on the local politics, you have to be up on the local humor, and you have to be, for that. And those guys like to live there, and so they don't want to go anywhere. And so I always admire those guys. I always think that's a great way to live. Yeah, it's a great thing to do, And
it almost seems like nowadays, if you're the funny guy in the office. Because it's so easy to put yourself on YouTube or to start a podcast. People say, "Why aren't you a comedian?" But I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's any more. You can't just be the funny guy in the office anymore.
Well, no, I mean you can. And podcasting and all that kind of stuff has allowed funny people to be funny on podcasts and that kind of thing. But there's still stage. There's still something to the stage where when you step on the stage, and can you bring it on the stage, and that's always separated. There'll always be a market for that, whether or not you can entertain a crowd, and that is specific to stand up. That is like no other thing that stands alone. Like just getting a microphone and 300 people are in front of you, and for an hour we're gonna try to laugh here, and that right there is
we're gonna try to laugh.
We're gonna try. We're gonna try. Yeah,
I like the effort.
Yeah, we're gonna try. And so that's why it's such a specific thing, and it's unique, and so you might be the funny guy in the office, but once you get in front of on that stage, it's all different. The pressure's on. You can feel the audience look at you, and you either crumble or you stand. That's why it's called stand up.
When you had that moment, because everybody has it, like you think, oh, I can make a living in comedy. I mean, your brother made a living in comedy. Yeah. What was that moment like where you're like, no, actually, I'm not a Madison only comedian guy. I've got to go to a coast, or I've got to get bigger. What can you describe when you knew that was the case?
Well, yeah, I think that I've always kind of wanted to come to LA. I've been here for 20 years, and I think I was in Chicago, and I've got the thing where you're living in Chris's shadow kind of thing, and I've always tried to do my own thing, and whenever I'm on stage, I don't try to jump on chairs and sing Lottie freaking da and that kind of thing. I do my own thing. I try to do my own thing, and even though I have the mannerisms of Chris, so that always comes out. But I have my own style, and so I've always wanted to go on the road and sort of establish that rather than stay in Madison or something like that. So I'm on a plane everywhere, most of the time, and just trying to do my own thing and trying to get my own brand out there and that kind of thing. So it's always been it's a constant thing with me.
So it's sort of inevitable, like I'm going to do this. There's just no other route.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like that was the only way for me to do it. Yeah. I don't know.
Did you ever have a regular job?
Never. No. That's good. It's sad. I did, when I was little, I guess, I worked at a camp, and then I worked on the Board of Trade in Chicago when I was doing Second City. Wow. I ran orders in the trading because Chris did it, and then he said, why don't you just do that when you're doing Second City? And so I did that for a little while and just ran orders in, it was a silly job.
Yeah.
Then I just started doing acting, and I came to LA, and I've been acting and doing stand-up and improv since then. So I haven't really had one. Thank God. I haven't had one, and since I was in my 20s, yeah.
Yeah.
I know, it's weird.
Board of Trade.
Yeah.
Imagine if that would have stuck.
What's the Board of Trade? Is that the name of a restaurant?
It doesn't
or
even
something?
exist anymore. The Board of Trade does not, because of computers, got rid of it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now people used to trade on the Board of Trade in Chicago where they would get a call in from anyone else or, some trading firm, and then they run it into the pit, and the pit was where everybody was trading. And so they'd have to get the phones from the phones to the pit, where the pit was basically where guys were just looking at each other going, trading pork rib bellies and trading, all kinds of commodities and euros, dollars, and that kind of thing, and yen and all that kind of stuff. And that would all happen in the pit. And people were yelling numbers at each other, trading. Well, they get the card, they get the order from me coming in and just handing it to the guys. And then it would be guys just yelling and screaming at each other.
This episode of the Break It Down Show is brought to you by Lions Rock Productions.
That's us.
We publish, evaluate, and develop podcasts just like this one, consult others to build their own, and create associated content and content marketing strategies.
So if you're launching or expanding your social media presence, your business, or your personal brand, or if you just want to take your media presence to the next level,
reach out to us on Twitter
at Pete A. Turner
or at JohnLG69
at the Break It Down Show.
There's 1,000 ways to get a hold of us.
Now enjoy the show.
Have you ever done an improv based on that?
It's crazy because the stress level was so much.
Yeah.
It's just, first of all, it's all men. I mean, there was a few women in there, but the women were mainly men. It was such a testosterone-driven thing,
But was there ever one guy that was just still a little bit too excited?
Oh, all the
Right?
time.
It's like, come on.
Yeah, the worst fight I ever had. When you get
I'll sell you the euros. You're gonna scream in my face.
When you get like, I don't know, there was probably maybe 300 or 400 guys, in one area, really close to each other. There's fights. There's always going to be fights. And you can't put 400 men without somebody punching somebody.
Yeah, it's like dog park.
No,
it's a dog park.
Yeah, somebody's going to get hurt. And the worst fight I ever saw, these guys went at it. And usually you're training and you're yelling at each other anyway. And it's stress level. You're going 5, just screaming at each other.
But I don't understand what you're yelling. I'm going to break it up. But I don't understand what you're yelling. You're like, I'm selling it for $50.
Yeah.
He's like 45. And you're like,
Yeah.
52.
Right. And you have to do, they did signals then. Like if this was selling 300, if you pushed it out like that, they had a whole set of signals that you worked on like that. So you had to be intense and you had to get your signals correct. And if you didn't get your signals correct with your hand, guys would get pissed. And you're like, do your thing. Like, right. It's communication. It's like, come on. Yeah. Or just doing this would screw up an order, The intensity was just so through the roof, and guys were screaming at each other all the time, and there was thousands of dollars getting traded here, and the money was moving so fastly, so you'd either lose money or gain money so fast. It was just intense.
So when that guy does decide, like, I'm going to hit Carl in the face, and he goes and swings to, like, the Board of Trade, all the guys go, instead of, like, I want corn. They're like, I want Carl. 5 on Carl.
Yeah. Well, they'd start to bat. Of course, that would happen all the time. If two guys went at it, they wouldn't break it up. They go, they throw down money. But the worst fight I ever saw was these two guys went at it, and they almost killed each other. And we try. Everybody tries to break it up after. They let it go for a little while because they like it.
Yeah.
And then they go, okay, this is getting too rough, and they break it up.
Because they're putting bets down on it.
And it was brutal. Like these guys were bloodied, and it was worse than usual.
Yeah.
I go, that took like 20 minutes to break it up. These guys wanted to kill each other. And then, everybody went to their final corners, and I'm like, what the hell was that about? I assumed it was a trade that went wrong or something like that. Yeah. And he goes, no, that guy farted on that guy.
I was going to say, it can't smell good in that room.
No. And he goes, if you fart on me one more time, I'm going to punch you in the face. Yeah. And he just farted on him again and it erupted into the worst fight I've ever seen in my life.
I love it.
Farted on me.
Yeah, if you fart on me one more time, I'm going to punch you in the face.
Did you have teams, though? Were you like...
there were different groups of traders.
It was like prison.
Yeah, it was a prison mentality for sure.
Mentality,
yeah, and you can't get 400 guys in there without having it devolve into a prison mentality.
Imagine somebody playing like Monopoly, but you had to play it super fast. Like you couldn't think at all.
Yeah.
It's like roll the dice, make your move,
only
buy a house, buy this.
Men.
Just men.
Yeah.
And quick, keep moving.
Yeah. Right.
And you're
competitive guys going at it. Right.
Yeah.
No, it was an awful place to work.
When someone says to you, fart on me again, I'm going to punch you in the face, that's sort of like the coward contract. Like if you were to say, Pete, you're a fucking coward, I now am allowed to punch you in the face to prove that I'm not, right?
Yeah, sure.
Like you're like, this is my offer. And so it's the same thing. Like, fart on me again, I'm going to kick your ass. Yeah. All right.
There you go.
Boom.
There you
go. It's on,
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It
And
was
then
that kind of
when
thing.
you're there, you're wearing like the smock, right? Like
wearing those smocks, those trading smocks, which
Yeah.
got really, really dicey. I mean,
Yeah.
they got sweaty and they got really gross. And they smelled. Yeah, everything smelled down there. And it was just angry people yelling. Some guys losing tons of money.
Yeah.
And you couldn't be late for lunch. Like, you'd have a half hour for lunch.
Right.
When the bell rang, though, I mean, they were on such a time crunch because the bell stopped at 3, and you had to be there. You had to be there at 12:30.
Yeah.
On the dot. And I was 30 seconds late one time. 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
I got screamed at for being 30 seconds late. I said, I got to get out of here.
That's $10 million.
Exactly. I got to get out of here. This isn't my gig.
Yeah, all around the Board of Trade too in Chicago, you'll see the runners because they'll come out in their smocks. Like they don't even got time, like because you got to get down to the bottom, out to where the dude sells a hot dog, buy your hot dog, get back to work,
and then get back to work. Yeah,
right. So you'll see them like they still have their smock on, and you're like, does that guy sell paint?
Yeah, but it was such a club, and then it disappeared because of computers.
Yeah.
So a lot of people kind of miss those things. I never missed it. I mean, I don't give a damn. But the people that really made a lot of money and made a good living doing that, they miss it. They miss it. It was a huge thing.
So you've been able to make a living as a stand-up ever since?
Well, no, actually, stand-up, I've only been doing it for like 5 years. But an actor, a comedic actor for 20, 30 years. 30.
And you did Second City, then you came to L.A.
Yeah.
Did you do like UCB or Groundlings or anything?
I did out in Chicago. I did the Improv Olympic and then Second City, and that was it. And then I came out here and did Second City and Improv Olympic, mainly Improv Olympic, Second City. I didn't do UCB. I was around those guys when they started it, but I never did it. I did a couple shows there. I just never did the classes or anything like that. But I did the classes at Second City and went through all that program and everything. I just loved it. I fell in love with improv and I did a lot of improv shows for years, and then I just thought, like 5 years ago, I thought I should just do some stand-ups, just try it, And I really enjoyed it. I enjoy the challenge of it all, So.
Are there certain rooms where you're like, this room just for me works? Like, I like the vibe in here. I feel comfortable.
Oh, you mean clubs?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's tons. There's Denver Comedy Works. There's tons. There's a lot of Comedy Cellar, a lot of people like that in New York. They have a certain vibe. They have a certain people that come there, and they're always in a good mood. They're always ready to see comedy and that kind of thing. So there's a few around the country that I love. I can't remember off the top of my head now, but I know Denver's one of them, and I know.
Yeah, that counts.
Yeah,
that works.
Yeah, that counts. Yeah.
As you do go out and you have to find those rooms where you have to work, is that more satisfying when you win a crowd over, or is it same?
No, obviously winning a crowd over, yeah. I mean, I'd love to have a crowd. I'd like to have the crowd, be kind of quiet, and then if I can work them into a frenzy, then that's definitely much fulfilling than a crowd that's already rowdy or anything like that. If you can bring a crowd from being quiet to laughing, that's a tough thing to do too. Very tough, but it's very fulfilling when you do it. For sure, it's one of the best feelings of all when you come in there and you have a quiet crowd that's not in the mood, and you get them in the mood. Yeah, it's tricky, very tricky. That's the whole thing.
The Saturday night 8:00 show. That's the hardest one.
Friday night. Friday night. Late show.
Friday night late show.
That's why Steve Martin, I think, wrote in his book, I stopped comedy because of Friday late show. And I get it, at being out on the road, you understand
what am I
that.
doing?
Yeah. Well, really what it is, I think it's because people are getting off work. They might have had a bad week. Something, boss yelled at them or whatever happened. And they went to the bar, got a drink, met some friends, but they had like 2 or 3 drinks after work.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a good week.
Yeah.
And then they go, well, let's go to the comedy club. I'm already fucked up or whatever. And then they go to the comedy club and they go to the late show, because they've been drinking after work, 2 or 3 drinks at work, and then they go to the late show and they're angry because of work week.
Yeah.
And they're drunk as hell.
Yeah.
It's a bad combo. Usually the audiences on those nights are rowdy and they're screaming at you.
So it's like taking somebody at an intersection from road rage to laughing.
Exactly.
It's a
very
sharp,
difficult.
Sharp curve.
And everybody's had a lot of people don't like their jobs. A lot of people don't like their jobs, and by Friday they're pretty fed up.
I wonder if it's also because during the week, I mean, if you're working, you're always listening to other people. You're always listening to. So maybe you need that 24 hours to kind of regulate and decompress. Where it's about me now. You're sort of ready to go back and listen to somebody else again.
Yeah, right. If you have the Saturday is a much different show because they've had that night to party and get out their frustrations of the work week.
Realize that they're just not that funny themselves.
Right. Or they hate their job, but at least they have one more day, which is Sunday. So Saturday's usually in a much better mood. Yeah. So Sunday they can just chill and watch football and do something, but they don't have to go back into that office. They hate that office. So that's why typically Friday night shows are the worst, the absolute worst. The people are in the worst mood. Yeah.
Your KevinFarleyOfficial.com is where your website is. That's where all your dates are and everything.
The dates are there.
Yeah, you play all over the place. So you act, you direct, you must write then as well. You do comedy, you do a variety of things.
I know.
If you could pick one,
he's like wincing with each one you say.
Well, I've slowed down. I've slowed down on being the jack of all trades. I think I can't do it anymore.
This is where I was going.
No. As I get older, I'm like, no.
What's the sweet spot then? What's not the retirement gig, but what's your pace for right now then?
Well, you know what? I just really want to act and then do stand up and just I'll get my acting gigs where I can get my acting gigs and then just keep doing stand-up. The directing is so hard and so meticulous and so I'm just my brain doesn't work that way. Like you got to go over the script.
You got to talk to people. You got to communicate your thought. What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, typical directors like
do what's in my head.
When I did direct it, the one thing that made me snap was like this costume director came up with like 3 dresses, 3 different colors for the main character. Not even the main character. It was like a secondary character, and they're like, "What color dress should she wear?" And I'm like, I gotta answer. I don't know. Purple. And then she goes, purple? Like it was a bad decision. I go, okay, red. And she goes, really? Red? I'm like, oh, all right. I don't know. Yeah. And it was just like, I got to make every single decision.
There's a certain way of people asking you questions, and it's their way of saying, well, I'm giving you a choice, but here's what I really want.
Yeah. And the director's got to make all the decisions, It's like every decision on a set is got to go through the director. And it's like, no, I'd rather just go in and do my acting and then go hit lunch and get out of there.
You told the funny story on the Live Drop, the show that's coming out, that you're doing all the spy stuff on, Mark, and you talked about working on Hurt Locker. And you got that direction, and it was really vague. Catherine Bigelow, send the guy over to that guy and tell him be more military.
Really vague direction.
Will you kind of recant that?
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, I was supposed to be a helicopter pilot, so I was so excited, because I was going to be in that raid to get Osama bin Laden, and that it's excitement where you get a part, you actually start feeling like you're the guy.
Yeah.
Right? You start dreaming of it,
Yeah.
And I'm going to change the plan. I'm like, I'm not going to take the helicopter in. I'm like, change the story. Maybe I'll take a couple of shots, through the window. But then they say to me, Mark, listen, we can't afford the helicopter scene. So
oh, wow.
We've got another
For
scene.
Hurt Locker?
This is out in the desert in Jordan. No, this is Zero Dark 30.
Oh, yeah. Was that lower budget then, or?
Well,
somebody took all the money.
They had a budget.
Right.
I think
somebody took all the money.
I think they just ran. I think they had to pay so much for security. They just had to run out. They had to bribe the terrorists not to blow up the set.
They ran out of money for a helicopter.
Yeah, we're going to change this movie to we.
By the way, that's an important part of the story because the whole thing is helicopters.
But it's weird. But the coolest part was walking around in uniform out in the desert in those Connexes. Yeah, smell like 4-year-old feces.
Oh,
you know what I mean? The kind of thing Pete knows.
I've lived in them. Yes.
And but then they said, Mark, we got another part for you. It's a little more. It's a little more emotional. It's kind of integral parts. It's the last scene. We've just written this new scene. The star Jessica Chastain gets on the plane, and you say, "Wow, is it just you?" And she says, "Yeah." And I say, "Wow, where do you want to go?" And that's kind of the end of the movie. And so I said, "Yeah, sure. I guess I can do that." So I take off my helicopter stuff, but I went for the part, and we do the rehearsal, and she's like, "Okay, good, Mark, can you back up a little bit?" I'm like, "Sure." So a little bit louder. It's like, "Hey, so where do you want to go?" She's like, "Back a little bit farther." So the next take is like, "Where do you want to go?" And she's like, the director's like, "Can we turn on the turbine engines?"
Oh God!
So in the actual movie, I have this dot in the back going, "Where do you want to go?"
Oh my God!
But her direction for me, and I was in the Army for West Point was 4 years, and the Army for 5, and I up to that point, I've been getting a lot of direction from people like Mark, just loosen up a little bit, right? Loosen up. So finally, at that point, we're doing the scene, and she goes, the only direction she had was, Mark, could you be a little more military?
That's funny.
And that was it.
And you've had all this military
I thought,
experience.
yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah. Does she know that you were at West Point and on the Army at all? Did she
I
have?
don't think so.
Yeah.
She didn't know your background.
She didn't know. No.
Yeah.
But she had this weird way of saying action. Though she would. Pete, I'll show you.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of creepy. Notice your back.
Okay.
She'd be behind me, right? Because it was really kind of quiet, and she's girls getting on, and she's starting to cry. She would like
pinch your back.
She would pinch my.
That's weird.
Skin.
That's
on my
weird.
Back. It's kind of a Me Too thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of saying action to you, she pinched your back.
She pinched me. Well, like, yeah.
Well, that's weird.
Like like a skin.
Like a skin.
That's really
like
weird.
It's really tight
Maybe
skin
she's just
pinches.
trying to.
I don't know, but that's strange. Yeah.
Well, I feel weird back here.
Maybe we should call Catherine Bigelow's office. No, just kidding.
I think we should call her. What's up
I
with
will
the
say
pinching
she
thing?
did a great job on that. That's a great film. That's
she
a great
did,
film.
yeah.
She did a great job on that
Yeah.
film. No, that is. I always liked her. She did Hurt Locker, and then she did that, right? Yeah.
She also did that movie with Keanu Reeves, the surfing one.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
the
was her
Point
first
Break.
film.
Point
Point
Break,
Break.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great one.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. No, she's a great director. I like her.
Yeah, she
She's very
really
good.
is.
She does these crazy manly movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think in Point Break, like when they're on the airplane and Keanu and Bodhi are having the conversation,
Bodhi, yeah.
she's like,
I
"Can
work
you?"
for the FBI.
Yeah, right now I need you to really be Keanu and go like, whoa, and all that stuff. He's like, people trusted you, Bodhi, and they died.
Yeah.
Yeah. Angie Rob Banks and everything else.
That first one, they did 2 of those Point Breaks, didn't they?
Yeah.
I don't know if I liked the second one, but I know I love the first one, with Patrick Swayze, and that was my favorite one. That was the one she directed, right?
Yeah, I think
the first
so,
one.
right?
There's
Yeah, the
2 of
first
them.
one, yeah.
Yeah, the first one was great.
Yeah.
Was that Crazy Wave?
Yeah. Yeah.
He wanted to surf
That Laird
wave.
Hamilton just went out and rode. He's like, whatever, I'll ride that wave.
Oh, what is that? Is that a helicopter?
Why'd you see those? They look like ospreys.
Oh, they ospreys? Yeah. That's
loud.
cool.
We're turning right on the corner here because I know you got to go. What do you want to cover? Anything else in particular?
Where's your next show?
Next show is in, I got to go to Indiana, Pearson, Indiana, little
Nice.
tiny little town, and do that. And then I got to go up to Portland to do Harvey's up in Portland.
Nice.
And then I move to New York, and I'll do Poughkeepsie and that kind of thing up there. Yeah, I've just been doing, I have to record another episode of F is for Family on next Monday, which I'm looking forward to. I love that show, and that's great, and that's always fun to record.
Yeah.
And then, that's about it right now. Just working on that and recording stuff, so just doing stand-up and recording the F is for Family.
I wouldn't say it's just. You're busy. That's
What is that club? What is that club? Everybody warned people about. It's in Oregon. It's the same town where Bing Crosby is from.
Oh, I don't know.
Bend, Oregon? No.
What's the name of that town? No. What's that city in Oregon?
Eugene?
Eugene.
A big place. Corvallis.
I think in Eugene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a club up there?
Isn't there a club there? Yeah, I heard somebody
I don't know.
talking about it. It was like
Never heard
like
of
a
it.
nightmare place
It's
to
a
go
nightmare?
to. I think you should do it. I
To
think you should
get-
try to get a gig
Yeah,
in
right.
Eugene.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, I've done gigs where they're hard to get to, and those are tough. Yeah, I've done an Alaska gig. I did it. I went way up there, and I did this little bar up in Alaska. It was not little. It was a big bar. Yeah, I walked out of the gig. It was done at about midnight, and it was about as light as it is right now. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been up to Alaska, but that was the first time I had ever done it, and I did comedy up there, and that was surreal, just to go outside and it's still being light outside. It's crazy.
My buddies and I did a bachelor party trip up there, and we were in a strip club that served pizza, had plastic lawn chairs, and showed porno constantly on the wall.
Yeah, nice.
Because they're like, fuck it, let's just do
Up in
everything.
Alaska?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of like down here, like if they had like a medical screening, coffee,
Yeah,
juice bar.
yeah,
where you get like a bunch of
They do
things
it all
done.
right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Porn became a real personal thing, though.
Yeah.
It used to be showing it at the,
Yeah. At
the
the
stag
at the
parties.
Rialto.
The thing would be kind of running,
Oh, I was thinking about the theater, like when you went like onto the theater on like 5th Street, not on Main. And then you actually have to go in. You imagine
into the theater. I know.
Yeah.
Into the theater, yeah.
Oh,
That's
so
why they
cool.
wore hats and stuff.
Right.
Like
It's not raining, but everybody's got raincoats on.
Oh my God, I know, crazy. I think they still have a few of those theaters, like in LA here.
Who would go to a
Fred?
Yeah, he was in one a few years ago,
a
right?
couple
Right
years
down
ago.
here on Hollywood.
Right. Poor Freddie. I know Freddie. God bless him. But
Yeah.
I mean, what are you
What
going
are you
going into a fucking?
He seemed like he just wandered in, though. Right? I don't seem like he doesn't seem the kind of guy would intentionally go.
Yeah.
No.
Like,
I don't know.
well, just
This is a porno?
this looks interesting.
God bless him. I don't know. Going into those places, it's like, but they still exist. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a funny thing to still exist in
How
these
could they
days.
still exist? You
Yeah,
talk
I
about
mean, yeah.
the porn industry is $1 billion industry, online industry.
Right.
How the hell?
How
is
do you
that
pay
theater,
rent? Yeah.
How the hell is that theater surviving?
It's money laundering.
My
Yeah.
God. Oh, it could be. Yeah, that
Russians,
could be.
yeah.
Russians,
The
or
Russians.
something. Yeah.
It's a lot of those kind of things. Like if you open any porn mags, like I don't get chicks with dicks, but there's one on every single page. You know, like they're buying ads, so someone's buying the
who's
product.
buying magazines for that matter? You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Who's going to the theater for porno? Who's buying magazines for porno? If you got to buy a magazine for porno, oh my God.
I remember when we were kids, we had like a really big open space behind us, and there was a lean-to kind of fort, and one of the things in there was like porn. And you were young, and so it was like, this is incredible that there's porn in here.
Sure, yeah.
Like those things are over. You're just like
Yeah.
www.
Just like there it is.
Yeah.
I mean, being a parent, I don't have kids, but I mean, I can imagine the stress parents go through. Just
Yeah.
like how easy it is to
Yeah.
get online. Oof.
Do you want kids?
I don't know. I'm pretty old right now. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
Yeah, but there's young
I do,
dads.
but my back doesn't. my back would
My
say
back
no.
wants to be a bachelor.
My back used to be so cool. He was great. Now my back is like no kids.
Is it bad?
No, I had surgery like 2009. I had
Yeah.
discectomy, and no, knock on wood, it's okay now. But
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah.
I'm no spring chicken,
Right.
so I know what it is. You know?
Your back is like, let's go to the porn theater.
That's right.
That wooden chair feels real nice.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I'm
You
getting
don't
out of
want
this. Get out of this family restaurant. You
You
don't
don't
need
want
to be in
to burp
here.
a baby.
Guys in our basic age range, us and our peers, like, they're like, oh, we're not that old. And then I thought the other day, I realized Rick Springfield's friend's girlfriend, Jesse's girl,
Sure.
she's a great grandma now.
Yeah.
That makes
We're all
you-
getting old.
Yeah, that
Okay.
makes you old.
All right.
No, it's fine. It's totally fine.
I'm not afraid of getting old, and
No.
whatever.
I agree.
We all got to do it.
Not that big of a deal. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forget. You always said pause.
Yeah. I think I figured out why the Ospreys are flying overhead, because the president's coming to L.A.
He is?
Yeah, so that's got to be like
Oh,
boosted
yeah.
up security and everything.
Oh, what's he
in.
coming here for?
They were
Just a
flying
speech?
super low, too.
Yeah, they're fine. That's got to be that they're clearing.
Aren't
the
those
airspace
things
and
kind of
everything.
faulty?
No,
those
they got
Ospreys?
them sort of figured out.
Have they? I thought they crashed all the time.
Well, I mean, everything crashes. They were crashing a lot for a while, but now they got it figured out. The thing
Mm-hmm.
is like, is it even necessary? I don't.
The helicopter plane?
Yeah. I mean, can't we just?
cool. Looks
no,
cool.
it is super cool.
Could drop it anywhere.
Yeah,
It
you
can
drop
drop
it.
it.
Scoot
yeah.
out.
It's a pretty cool plane, I will say. I like the Osprey. It looks cool. Looks cool. But you're
It
right,
looks
as far
cool.
as like, is that just, are we wasting money? I never know.
Right. Yeah.
God knows we're wasting money on military stuff, but I don't know.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Where do you begin?
I talked to a Finnish.
I know. You probably know more about that than I do.
We talked to a Finnish military officer today. We talked about just the cost and the size of the military.
It's just huge.
Yeah, if you got 5,000 tanks, no one wants to fight you in a tank fight. They're like,
No.
you know what? We're not
No.
going to buy tanks.
Yeah. No, exactly. No, we have a lot. We have a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
We got to get rid of some of the stuff.
We got a giant prop airplane that's
got a lot
actually a
of stuff.
helicopter that drops
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
And I don't know how many we got those. We got millions of those.
We have invisible jets,
You
know.
do?
Yeah, B-2 bomber. That thing's been around. Those things are. You could buy the Dodgers for one of those things.
Yeah, I know. We got a bunch of those.
Yeah,
we got a bunch of those. We got a bunch of missiles. We got,
Yeah.
we're good. We're
It's
good.
all
We're
good.
good.
Yeah.
We're good.
good.
We're definitely good.
Hey, on Twitter, I'm Kevin Farley.
I'm Kevin Farley.
For
yeah.
sure, go check out KevinFarleyOfficial.com. That's where all the dates are.
That's my dates.
I'm Pete A. Turner. You're Yes Mark Valley on Twitter. That's where you guys got to find us. Tell us one more time the name of your podcast.
It's Kevin Farley on the Road on iTunes.
And then back over in the corner over there is Hilliard. He's got his show, Screenwriters Rant Room. Definitely check these things out. We build them because we want you guys to listen. We find some incredible stories. And and I got to start listening to your thing because I love hearing the emerging story. In the superhero story, I want to, like, when the guy's like, I can pick up this whole farm.
Yeah,
You know, I love that part.
But I just like to get guys when they're starting their career and they have hope, because I have no hope anymore and I'm just jaded. And I like to talk to guys that still have hope and still have, they still want to chase the dream. And I that's why I like doing the podcast. It's great.
You do it literally on the road?
On the road, yeah. And I just hammer it right there on the road.
In a car, you just set it up like this?
I do it on my phone.
Really?
Yeah, it's really easy.
You do like a little splitter?
Yeah. Or else I'll just do it like that on the microphone.
Huh.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
I record a lot of stuff in my truck, but I'm afraid it's kind of rapey. You're like, let's get in my truck. Yeah. You're like, wait a minute.
We're just gonna talk. We're just gonna talk.
I swear.
Yeah.
I swear. Why are these windows so tinted? Don't worry about that.
It's a podcast.
I ask the questions.
All right. Thanks a lot, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks
for
Kevin.
having
Nice to
me,
meet you,
guys.
man.